Hello there. I just wanted to share a couple of experiences that I had last night and this morning. A little squirrel over here outside my window. Can you see him? Yeah, he's right there. Anyway, I'm getting off track already. Wow. So, a lot of stuff's been happening since the solar flares, a lot of new energies that are been, hard to cope with and deal with. My frequency and my vibration and my oscillation has been rising substantially over the past, ever since these waves really began. And I feel that they really began, at least for me, in February of this year. That's when my kundalini rose and my light body began activating and my whole entire life began drastically shifting. That's when I got off heroin. That's when I quit the job that was making me miserable. That's when the synchronicities started. I got one every single hour, so it just kind of drove me insane until I figured it out a little bit more. But anyway, these energies have been rising substantially ever since, and it seems like every month I learn another big factor in the ascension process, whether it's having an epiphany of my own body or the global body state of affairs with my personal consciousness or with the global consciousness. I feel like stuff just keeps unlocking for me, and I have doubt that I won't figure a problem out, but then it will figure itself out somehow. So I guess the negative to all this would be that I feel I am losing my free will to some degree, but that free will I know now was really just ignorance, and I was trapped in duality consciousness, and so really I'm not upset about losing free will because I know I was just asleep more than anything. I am more than happy to transcend this plane of existence now that I know that it is mostly just a school of learning for the principles of duality. So I can't complain too much, but nevertheless it is a very rigorous and difficult process that has had me screaming at the sky more than a handful of times. So anyway, I go lesson to lesson. I've been doing shadow work nonstop, and just when I thought I was done, these newer energies blasted up a bunch of more dirt that was trapped inside of my being, namely my emotional body. I still have a lot of suffering that I haven't fully released, and some anger, resentment, and this has been unfolding in several ways, mostly just because my emotional body is coming to the surface and interacting with my physical body, and I am way more aware of this trapped energy now that my light body has come alive. And this is because the frequencies in my body have been rising and vibrating, so things that do not resonate to these higher frequencies will immediately pronounce themselves through dis-ease or ailment, mental, physical, spiritual, of all kinds. Everything from pain in the body, back pain, headaches, to emotional and mental, like anxiety and depression. So they are much easier to spot now. So I've been kind of on a campaign to discover the causes and the roots of these negative energies or vibrations and kind of root them out or raise their vibration, because that's what seems to be needing to be done, is that we need to, the light needs to go into the dark to transmute it. And what it really means is all densities must be transmuted into higher vibrating frequencies. It makes perfect logical sense when you're thinking about how one would ascend in dimensional levels, including not only consciousness but also the body, the physical body, and the density of the body. So this is not only a rise in consciousness, frequency of consciousness, but is also a rise in the density of physicality. So it's multidimensional. This whole thing is so multidimensional, and it's so hard to wrap your head around. And you just have to remain vigilant and pick kind of a certain group of things to work on at any given time, so that way you don't get ahead of yourself or behind yourself or get so confused. But the thing is you never want to quit. You're like intuitively pulled to figure it out. So that's one benefit, I guess. It's like the old me, if I would have come into a hard problem like this, like physical childhood trauma or something, to deal with that, I wouldn't have coped with it. I would have, the old me would have done some dope and like hid in a tunnel somewhere. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is that this dirt, or this density that's being brought up to the light, it is resolving itself no matter what. There's like no chance to be given to hide from it anymore. And that's what I mean by my free will is going away. I am being pulled and pushed by my higher self to get in line, to encapsulate this light, because I don't know, maybe I'm already behind schedule. But I don't think it really has much to do with like one given timeline. I think there's several timelines, just like there's several dimensions. There's always there's shades of gray to this reality. It's not black or white like duality, okay? So there can be people on different levels of consciousness and different dimensional, on different timelines. Say for instance in 2012, my conscional awareness was mostly towards darkness and evils. Like that was when I fell down the rabbit hole as far as government corruption and the secret space program. And so I dwelled a lot in fear, and that would be the lower fourth dimensional consciousness. That's where you're dwelling in the mental plane of like duality, basically. And you're not shut off like dwelling strictly in 3D reality. That would be just going to your 9 to 5 and like rooting for the local football team and like having your cup of joe and watching the whatever the hell they're spewing on TV at that time. So that would be 3D. 4D would be concerning yourself with global affairs and like mental affairs, stuff like this. And then 5D would be basically transcending all that crap and living in love and being in a state of bliss, rising above all of it. So right now, my current situation is still I'm trying to break out of fourth dimensional. I think I'm somewhere in a higher 4D state of mind. I don't know. But anyway, with that being said, I'm also having to deal with light body activation and dealing with higher sensories, with my pineal gland activating, my third eye activating. And here's an example of what happened this morning. This morning, I've been on this kick to kind of communicate with higher dimensional entities, namely in the 4D astral realm. So when I go into my meditations or I astral project, I put out the intention that I want to travel here or I want to travel there. So I've been mainly exploring the 4D middle astral realm and the upper 4D causal realm or mental realm. There's so many different interpretations and names for all these realms and physical, and dimensions, and that one can get lost very easily, confused very easily, and that's exactly what's happening to me. So this morning I went into the 4D middle astral realm. Basically what I do is I raise my vibration in my body through conscious breathing and alignment. I activate all my chakras, then I push my kundalini up, and then I get my toroidal field flowing really, really well, and then I start breathing in tetrahedrons. And my vibration, my oscillation, my frequency rises substantially, and then I quiet my mind, and that enables me to then just leave my physical body with ease. Once I do that, then I state out to the universe my intention of where I would like to go, what I would like to experience. For example, this morning, the first time I left my body, I stated that I would like to visit the 4D middle astral realm. So I went there, and the way I went there was very strange. basically it's a mirror image of our reality. There's the same buildings, the same people, not people, the same places and things, okay, but they're more vibrant in color, and they're more just slightly blurred. That might just be a problem with my perception too. That might just be my third eye, you know, seeing for the first time, kind of thing. I don't know, but it seemed to be a higher level of energy and vibration. So things are a lot more fluid and brighter. Maybe even different spectrum of. It might have even been a different electromagnetic spectrum, like what is that one? That's right above. I don't know if it's right above ours, but ultraviolet light. It could have been made of that, and then the dimensional layers or frequencies or dimensions could climb in light frequency. Like, you know, from there on it could be gamma, and that could be like 5D for all we know. I don't know. I'm really confused in this whole process, so I've been trying to delve into it and figure it out with my own eyes and make sense of it with my own logic. So I went into the 4D middle astral realm, and it was weird. I basically flew into a giant, like, warehouse of some kind, and then pierced through a wall, and then was in a bathroom stall. And there was another entity next to me using a urinal. So he started saying weird words to me, and I couldn't understand him. So what I did to try to fit in, to show him I wasn't an imposter or an intruder or something, is I started acting like I was going pee in the urinal next to him. And that was when he was like, "Hey, started like questioning me, but I don't remember exactly what he said. It was like muffled, kind of. I don't know. It was like I couldn't hear it well. I couldn't see well. I couldn't hear well. And then all of a sudden, with this confusion, with this uncertainty, my consciousness kind of hit a failsafe switch and shot me back into my body. And as I was going into my body, I could see a white bird flying over me above my bed like this. It flapped its wings a bunch of times, and then it just evaporated. And it reminded me of a dove. So I then did a bunch of research on doves and the symbology behind the dove or the white bird, and it seems to have to do with relationship situations. So that kind of lined up, because I've been having a little bit of trouble with my relationship right now. You know, the whole transitioning into a multi-dimensional being and trying to remain grounded enough to love somebody that's not in the higher dimensional consciousness. Anyway, that's another video. So I was confused. So what I did then is I got my body vibrating again with higher frequency, left it again. This time I said I wanted to visit the upper 4D mental plane. Okay, I went there. All of a sudden I was in a house, and I was like, what the fuck? And I went outside of the house to the outside back deck. What I saw was a bright neon, like purple sky, like a Kool-Aid sky. It was weird. And I looked around, and it was just like a weird neighborhood, and it was like the backyards with a graveyard amidst it. Okay, there was like these weird kangaroo creatures hopping around in the distance, like 100 yards away or so. And then there were these ghost-like apparitions or entities that were like dark gray in color, and they were kind of like whisking around, coming in and out of sight, like into my sight, like in and out, hovering around these kangaroo creatures. It was like they were tormenting them almost. That's what it looked like. They didn't look like peaceful beings or benevolent beings at all. They looked kind of evil. And then I knew as soon as I stepped out from hiding around the deck post that they would all see me and probably start some shit with me. I didn't know. This didn't seem like a benevolent realm to me. It was weird. So what I did was I just said fuck it, and because I know that I'm indestructible. The soul is 100% indestructible, so I had nothing to fear. And what I did was I just stepped out into the open, and then immediately they all went like, it was like a freaking horror movie. They all went and like looked at me, and the flying entities started flying towards me, and then the kangaroo ones started coming towards me, and then that's when the flying entity got right up in my face, and I just I went like this to bear hug him, and I started like trying to make him evaporate by squeezing him. And then that's when I woke up basically hugging the shit out of my pillow, chewing on my freaking goatee. So this is like, I was like, there's no way this is the upper 40 realm. That's supposed to be full of like benevolent beings and shit. So I started doing more research. Anyway, I am so confused about all this. And then I just like had an epiphany. What am I doing? I'm like getting way ahead of myself. I got matters to tend to here in the now, in the 3D realm. And basically the whole culmination of what I experienced this morning with these projections, with these travels to the nether realms or whatever, was that I'm not ready. I'm a freaking baby taking baby steps still. And if I get way too ahead of myself, I'll get lost even more. So the white dove was significant. I researched that. It gave me epiphany about my current relationship status and how I need to work on it with communication, and kind of resolve it with love and understanding and communication, and give up the pride and the ego. So that was the culmination of the whole thing. So I just wanted to share it with somebody, hopefully give somebody some insight, and hopefully help them on their journey. So stick around, because the heightened energies have created heightened experiences, and I'm going to keep sharing them as they come, because I believe it is essential in these times. And I fully believe that I am here to share myself with my speaking abilities and my open heart to share my experiences and help other people on their path and give guidance to the best that I can. Okay, so love and light. Have a great day.